Okay, so picking up where I left off, we're on problem 11. So for problem 11, it just says solve the equation for the given variable. So if you need to draw those bars, draw those bars. If you don't need to, then you don't have to. Now, remember, honors, you have to do the math by hand. Regular, you can use the calculator. So we're going to do negative 2/3 times 9x. So negative 2 times 9 would give me negative 18. And then I'm dividing by 3. So negative 18 divided by 3 is negative 6. Okay, negative 2 times negative 6 is 12, and 12 divided by 3 is a 4. And then I bring down 4x plus 10. Okay, now I combine like terms, so I'm going to look on both sides. Those won't combine. Look on this side, those won't combine. So I move the smaller variable. The smaller variable is this negative 6x. So I'm going to add 6x. That cancels and gives me 4 equals 10x plus 10. Step 4 is to add or subtract the constant, so I'm minus 10. And this is going to give me negative 6 equals 10x. My last step is to divide by 10. Okay, when I divide by 10, that gives me x equals, and I have negative 6 over 10. That can't divide. So regular, y'all can use the calculator and let it simplify for you. Honors, you must simplify by yourself. So 2 can go into both of those. That can go in 3 times, and that can go in 5 times. So my answer is negative 3/5. For the next example, we're going to start by distributing. Negative 7 times x is negative 7x. Negative 7 times 3 is negative 21. Bring down my equals. Negative 1/3 times 21x, so negative 1 times 21 is 21. And then negative 21 divided by 3 is negative 7x. Negative 1 times 3 is negative 3, and negative 3 divided by 3 will give me a negative 1. Okay, now I add or subtract my constant. So from here, I am going to add the 7x, not my constant, my variable. That gives me negative 21 equals negative 1 because both the x's cancel now. Negative 21 does not equal negative 1, so this again is a no solution. Now remember, the other option is infinitely many solutions, and that only happens if the statement is true. Okay, for 13, Melissa was working out this inequality. Negative 2 times 5 plus 6n is less than 6 times 8 minus 2n for her Algebra 1 class. She compared her work with her neighbor and noticed that they did not get the same answer. Examine Melissa's work and determine if she made a mistake, and if so, at what step did it occur. So remember, the first step is to distribute, and I'm just going to write it over here to the side. Negative 2 times 5 is negative 10. Negative 2 times 6 would be negative 12n. Keep my inequality. 6 times 8 is 48, and 6 times negative 2 is negative 12n. So that's step 1, distribute. They have negative 12 plus a negative 12n. That's the same thing I have. And they have 48 minus 12n. That's the same thing I have. So step 1 looks good. Okay, step 2, you would want to combine you want to combine like terms if you have any, but on the left side nothing looks like, and on the right side nothing looks like. So you're going to move your smaller variable. Well, the smaller variable is negative 12n, but they're both negative 12n, so you're just going to add 12n. When I add 12n here, it cancels, and when I add 12n here, it cancels. That leaves me with negative 10 is less than 48. So that was my step 2, and her step 2 matches that also. So her steps look good. So step 1, she didn't make a mistake, and step 2, she did not make a mistake. So your 2 answer choices are she did not make a mistake and there are no solutions, or she did not make a mistake and all real numbers work. All real numbers is the same thing as infinite many solutions. Okay, if it's infinitely many solutions, it would be true. If it's no solutions, it would be false. Negative 10 less than 48. Well, negative 10 is less than 48. So this is a true statement. So my answer is D, infinitely many solutions. Okay, moving to 14. I'm now just going to solve some inequalities. If you need to draw those bars, draw them. The first thing we're going to do is distribute negative 5. That gives me negative 5x. And then negative 5 times 3 gives me negative 15. I bring down the 23 at the beginning and keep my inequality. Step 2 is to combine the left side. So 23 and negative 15 will go together. So that leaves me with negative 5x, and that gives me a positive 8. Over here, bring down my inequality, and I have less than or equal to 18. My next step would be to move the constant, so I'm going to subtract the constant. That gives me negative 5x is less than or equal to 10. And my last step is to divide by negative 5. When you divide by a negative, don't forget you have to flip the sign. So my inequality becomes a greater than or equal to, and this becomes a negative 2. And there's my answer. For the second equation, 5 times 3 is 15. 5 times negative x is a negative 5x. The other side doesn't have distribution, so I just bring it down. Okay, from here, nothing on the left will combine, nothing on the right will combine, so I move my smaller letter. The smaller letter is the negative 5x, so we're going to add 5x. That leaves me with 15 is less than 3x plus 6. I now add or subtract my constants, so minus 6. Okay, 15 minus 6 gives me 9. Keep my inequality with 3x. I'm going to divide by 3. That gives me 3 is less than x. Now, the only thing wrong with my answer is I can't have inequalities on, I can't have x on the right side when you're working with inequalities. So I just have to flip my information around and put a greater than symbol. So my answer is greater than x is greater than 3. Okay, for the last problem, a charter bus charges $40 plus 40 cents a mile for renting a charter bus. Bus for You charges $35 plus 55 cents a mile. For what number of miles is Bus for You the less expensive company for renting a charter bus? The situation can be represented by the following inequality. Okay, so what we want to do is we just want to solve this inequality. Okay, there's no distribution here, so the first thing we're going to do is move the smaller letter. The smaller letter is this 0.40, so we're going to subtract 0.40x. Okay, regular, you can use the calculator. Honors, you're doing this part on your own, so we're subtracting. That gives me 0.15x. So 35 plus 0.15x is less than 40. I now move my constant by subtracting 35. That leaves me with 0.15x is less than 5. I'm going to divide by 0.15. Okay, so if I have 5 and I'm dividing it by 0.15, remember to move your decimal here 2 places over. So 5. Okay, 15 can't go into 5, but 15 can go into 50. And it can go in 3 times, which gives me 45. And that leaves me with 5. I'm going to bring down that 0, and I got 50 again. So I know it can go in 3 times, which gives me 45. And that leaves me with 5. So I put it to 0, bring it down, and that gives me 50. So I can go in 3 times. So if you are noticing, the 3 keeps repeating. So your answer, what number of miles can Bus for You, the less expensive company for renting a charter bus? If you only travel 33.3 repeating or 33 1/3 miles, it will be cheaper. Okay, if y'all have any questions over this, you're going to have your test, so make sure you ask, and good luck.